Welcome to Wine Line Radio. This is your host, Robert Scott, and I'm really excited to have a conversation today with Jelena Meisel of Zonin, the famous Prosecco producer from Verona. Everybody knows Zonin, and I would guess that most of you listening today have had a few glasses of Zonin Prosecco. Jelena, please tell me, what is your position with Zonin, and how long have you been with them?
Well, Robert, I have been now with Zonin family for almost 10 years, and I am a marketing and communications manager, and I handle all of our communications, all of the branding, and everything that has to do really with positioning our brand in the United States. That's
terrific. And 10 years, well, you've had a good run.
Yes, it has been a really, really great time.
Now, for our listeners who may not be familiar with Zonin, can you give me a little brief history of the family and maybe some stories that might be interesting?
Of course. So, Zonin family, so our name is really Zonin 1821, and 1821 refers to a first written document that was found of an actual transaction of selling wine that Zonin family sold. So we've been now around for 7 generations. And the newest, what I call it, the guard is the youngest. It's 3 brothers now are in charge of the family business. Our motto is family business, business of families. And it truly, though, we are a corporation, it still feels like a family. So when we all get together, it's like one long table and almost like cousins constantly talking over each other. And it's just a really wonderful experience to still be working for a large company with a family feel.
That type of atmosphere seems to really be indicative of family-owned wineries, particularly in Italy.
It really is. I mean, it really comes down to, people and relationships. And I think it's one thing the Zonin family recognizes, that passion behind, our wine is people. So the quality and is really seen in the passion the people have for the business and for the family.
I just think that's a great thing. I've had the opportunity to sit down at family dinners in Italy with some of the top winemakers and their families, like the Cecchis and Mazzis, and they just make you feel at home, and they don't pull any punches. You get to see all the trials and tribulations of family inner workings as they're happening, and it's always a wonderful thing to see.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Now, Zonin is famous world over for their Prosecco. Everybody knows Prosecco, but they do produce other wines. Is that correct?
Yes, you're absolutely right. So Zonin family is most known for its sparkling Italian wine, Zonin Prosecco. But the family also, we own 9 different wineries or estates throughout Italy, and one in Barboursville, Virginia as well, and our newest venture in Chile. But in Italy, we do have estates, in 7 most important regions. So being that the family is from Veneto, we are based in Veneto. From there, we have an estate in Friuli, in Piedmont, 2 in Tuscany, 1 in Puglia, and 1 in Sicily.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you're also in the Maremma, aren't you?
Yes, in Maremma as well. So both Chianti and Maremma.
Well, tell me a little bit, since you're the PR person, tell me a little bit about your approach to branding for these wines, or the company's approach for branding.
I think it's very important to us that each estate is established on its own, because we do firmly believe that the terroir speaks for itself, and really it's the land and how how everything is treated is preserving really the essence of the region that we're in. So each estate has its fully own personality. There's obviously a corporate, umbrella of Zonin 1821, but each one of them has its own name, own label, branding. It all starts with a winemaker. So each one of those estates has its own winemaker, and a personal touch for the land is really appreciated in every bottle and every glass.
And I really think that that's important, particularly for Italian brands, that they emphasize the estate rather than an overall umbrella, like Zonin Chianti Classico, Zonin wines from Puglia, that type of thing. Let each wine stand on its own.
Yes, that is absolutely imperative. So, it's one of those things. Yes, the family comes from Veneto, but they do not apply. They don't grow vines that are, specific to Veneto in Sicily, or the treatment of the grapes is not the same. So it's really honoring the land and terroir of the region where they are to preserve everything about it, because that's the true essence of the wine then.
Excellent. Now, Zonin USA is located just a couple hundred miles south of us in Orlando, in Miami. Why is that?
Well, I think there is a warmth, and there is dynamic, and there is the internationality of the city that was really attractive to Zonin family. And being here, it's kind of like a gateway to both, North America and South America, and kind of really having an eye on all of the Americas. And it's just a beautiful city to live in. So, and I think, with the Zonin family being so vested into Zonin USA, they come here quite often, and it's a great place to have a base.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you is that being located in Miami, do you have an outreach or a presence in the Caribbean?
Yes, we do.
That's great, because the Caribbean has been, historically very difficult to market to. And, it is now being or seeming to come into a play as a larger consumer of wine. My good friend Luis Torres, who is president of the Wine Business Academy and also one of the founders of go-wine.com, is spending a good deal of time marketing for wineries in the Caribbean area. And it seems to be growing. So you're ideally positioned to take advantage of that.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
So, thank you for giving us some perspective on Zonin. And where does Zonin go from here?
Well, our newest venture is really in Chile. So that is since we obviously have an estate in Barboursville, Virginia, and that was the latest acquisition for the family. And then now we have expanded into Chile, and we have, brought a beautiful line of Grand Reserve into the U.S. market of Chilean wines. And Chilean wines are definitely on a rise. Again, I think they're finding that mid-tier is finding its way again back to the shelves and back to, in glasses in people's hands. So I think we have a beautiful line of wines now available in the United States, and probably next venture will be hopefully California.
Wonderful. I'm going to ask you a question because I don't know the answer to it, but there's method in my madness. Who is your distributor in the Orlando area?
Breakthrough Beverage.
Breakthrough, okay. Thank you.
Of course.
The reason I ask, and I haven't discussed this with the club at all, I belong to Citrus Club, which is an affiliate of Club Corp of America, which has over 200 clubs throughout the world. And recently I have been asked by the management to start putting together some wine dinners to expose lines of wine to our Vintners Club members. We did one a week or so ago with Airfield Wines of Airfield Estate out of Washington State, and it was really well received. Would Zonin be interested in doing a wine dinner at the Citrus Club? We can discuss the details later.
Of course.
Well, that's great. I will start working on some plans, and perhaps when Francesco comes to the U.S., we can do that.
Yes, we would love to. We would love to do that, and let's stay in touch about that so we can work out on all the details.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a real pleasure to meet you over the phone. I'm sure that we'll have the opportunity to meet in person in a very short period of time. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And this is Robert Scott, host of Wine Line Radio, signing off for today.